I found 3 dying puppies sinking in river mud. What I did next changed everything. The riverbank was silent that morning, just mist and cold gray water. I was about to turn back. My bad knee was killing me, and the fog was too thick to see anything. But then I heard it, a tiny, wet sneeze. I looked down into the freezing mud, and my heart stopped. They were just heads, 3 little faces staring up at the sky, sinking deeper into the clay with every second. They weren't just lost, they were trapped. And the smallest one was already going under. I knew I couldn't reach them without risking my own life on the slippery bank. But I also knew I was their only chance. This is the story of how a morning walk turned into a fight for survival. For all of us. Caleb, now a retired firefighter dealing with chronic pain and the loss of his wife, takes a morning walk by the misty riverbank that turns into a high-stakes rescue mission. Discovering 3 French Bulldog puppies trapped and sinking in deadly river mud, Caleb must push past his own injuries to save them before the cold, or the mud, claims them. What follows is an incredible journey through emergency vet visits, difficult decisions, and the discovery that sometimes the lives we save end up saving us right back. I shouldn't have been out there. Not with my knee the way it was, but sitting alone in that empty house at 5 a.m. just made the memories too loud. It had been 8 months since Sarah passed. 8 months of waking up alone. So I walked. The river was invisible through the mist. Dead, silent. Just the crunch of my boots and the throb in my shattered knee. A souvenir from my last warehouse fire 3 years ago. I was about to turn back when I heard it again. That tiny, wet sneeze. I stepped to the edge of the steep bank and looked down. Through the fog, I saw 3 gray lumps in the mud. But stones don't shiver. My stomach dropped. They were puppies. French bulldogs, trapped in thick clay mud that acts like glue. 3 flat faces craning up, trying to keep their noses above the muck. And with those pushed-in snouts, they couldn't breathe properly, even when their noses were clear. The smallest one wasn't moving anymore. His chin rested on the mud. He was drowning. I had maybe 60 seconds. I grabbed my phone, hit record, and propped it against a rock. Old firefighter habit: document the scene. If something happened to me, someone would know where to look. There was no safe path down. Just a 10-foot drop of slick clay. I threw my walking stick aside, sat on the edge, and shoved off. I tumbled hard. My bad leg caught a root and twisted. The scream tore out of my throat before I could stop it. I hit the bottom in a spray of freezing mud, seeing stars from the pain. But then I heard that sneeze again. I forced myself onto my hands and knees. The mud tried to hold me down, too. I crawled to the smallest one first. I'd call him Rookie. His eyes were closed, barely breathing. His gums were almost white. Hypothermia. I'd seen it in fire victims before. I reached under his belly. The mud made a gross sucking sound as I pulled. He gave a weak cry. With a loud schluck, he popped free, limp, covered in slime, cold as ice. I unzipped my jacket and shoved him inside against my chest. I needed my body heat in him fast. The second one, Scout, started paddling when he saw me save his brother. He was fighting. I liked that. I grabbed him by the scruff and tucked him into my jacket next to Rookie. Then there was the big one, Sarge, stuck deep, buried to his shoulders. He must have been trying to push the others up. He growled when I reached for him, a scared warning. "Easy, Marine," I said softly. "We're getting out." I dug into the freezing mud until my fingers went numb. I heaved. Sarge came free with a splash of mud that hit me in the face. I tucked him into my jacket. 3 muddy, freezing puppies pressed against my chest. Now came the hard part. I looked up at the bank. It looked like a mountain. My knee throbbed in time with my heartbeat. "Hold on tight, boys." I couldn't use my legs. The mud was too slippery. I had to claw my way up, digging my fingers into the clay until my nails broke. I made it 3 feet. Then my boot slipped. We slid back down. My bad knee slammed into a rock. The pain was white hot. I lay there, face in the dirt, wanting to quit. Then I felt it. A tiny heartbeat against my chest. Patter, patter, patter. Rookie was warming up. He was alive. I thought about Sarah. How she fought for every day in that hospice bed. How she never quit. How she whispered before she died, "Don't you dare stop living, Caleb." I got angry. At the mud. At whoever dumped them. At my broken body. At myself for almost giving up. "No," I snarled. "We are moving. Now." I dug in and dragged us up, inch by inch. I sounded like an animal. I didn't look up. Just at the dirt in front of my face. Pull, drag, rest, pull. My hand hit grass. I hooked my arm over the edge and heaved one last time. We rolled to safety. I collapsed on my back, chest heaving. Then I felt movement inside my jacket. I unzipped it slowly. Steam rose into the cold air. 3 little gray faces looked up at me. Rookie took a deep breath, blinked, and licked the mud off my chin. I started laughing. It hurt, but I couldn't stop. "Yeah, buddy, you're safe now." I grabbed my phone, still recording, and looked back at the river. That's when I saw it. A soggy cardboard box caught in the reeds downstream. Someone had dumped them, put 3 puppies in a box and threw them in the river like garbage. I took a picture. Evidence. "Come on, boys. We need to get you to a doctor." I didn't go home. I drove straight to the emergency vet, puppies still in my jacket, heater blasting. Dr. Patel took one look at me, covered in mud, limping, clutching my jacket, and just opened the door. "Exam room 2, now." I unzipped my jacket on the metal table. 3 muddy puppies spilled out, still huddled together. She moved fast. Thermometers, stethoscopes, IV lines. Body temps are dangerously low. This little one's at 94 degrees. He has fluid in his lungs, aspiration pneumonia from breathing in mud. My chest tightened. Will they make it? She looked at me over her glasses. "You got here in time. 10 minutes later." She didn't finish. They started warming IVs, oxygen for Rookie, antibiotics for all 3. She scanned for microchips. Nothing. But look at their paws. These puppies have never walked on pavement. Backyard breeder. And a French Bulldog sell for thousands. But runts or ones with defects. Some breeders dump them as losses. I felt sick. "Caleb, these guys need serious care. Medications, follow-ups, special food. French Bulldogs are expensive. Breathing problems, skin issues. Today's emergency visit with overnight observation, $1,200. Are you keeping them, or should I contact the shelter?" I had $1,847 in my account. It was supposed to last the month. Sarah's voice echoed, "Don't you dare stop living." "Run the card." They kept the puppies overnight. I went home, showered, iced my knee, and sat in the dark with a bottle of pain pills. I couldn't afford 3 dogs. I could barely take care of myself. But I kept thinking about that box in the river, about someone deciding these lives were worthless. I fell asleep and dreamed of Sarah. So she was healthy, laughing, holding a puppy. Stop overthinking. You know what to do. At 5 a.m., Dr. Patel called. "The puppies are doing great. You can pick them up." When I walked in, all 3 were curled together in a crate. The moment they saw me, Sarge stood up and wagged his entire body. Scout yipped. Rookie wagged so hard he fell over. Dr. Patel handed me medications, special food, and instructions. They need real names. Already got 'em. Rookie, Scout, and Sarge. She laughed. Firefighter names. They earned them. At home, I bathed them gently in warm water. The gray mud swirled down the drain. Sarge turned out to be golden tan with a black mask. Scout was black and white, like a little cow. Rookie was dusty blue-gray with ears too big for his head, and I wrapped them in towels and fed them small portions. Their stomachs were still recovering. When they finished, they didn't explore. They just sat there, looking at me. Sarge walked over and sat on my foot. Something cracked open in my chest. Something frozen since Sarah died. "Okay," I whispered. "You can stay." The next morning, I called Animal Control. Officer Ramirez came with a clipboard. I showed her my video, the puppies, the rescue, the box. "We've been tracking a backyard breeder. This evidence is exactly what we need." She paused. "About the puppies. Legally, they're abandoned property. Since you rescued them and provided medical care, you have first right to ownership. You'd need to register them, get them microchipped, finish vaccinations. About $300 total." I thought about my bank account, about my empty house, about Sarah's voice. "Set it up." The first week was chaos. 3 puppies generate more laundry than an army. French Bulldogs snore louder than grown men, and they sneeze directly into your coffee. My knee hurt constantly from getting up and down. My grocery bill tripled. I called my sister crying one night. "I can't do this, Mags. I can't even take care of myself." Long pause. "Caleb, you haven't called me in 4 months. You stopped leaving the house, and now you're calling about puppies? You're feeling something again. You're alive." She was right. By week 3, we had a routine. My physical therapist noticed immediately. "Your range of motion is better." What changed? "I get down on the floor 40 times a day to stop puppies from committing crimes." She laughed. "Keep doing it." "It's working." 6 weeks later, there was a knock on my door. Officer Ramirez stood there with Detective Chen. "We found the breeder. Your video, combined with other reports, was enough for a warrant. We raided the property. 23 dogs removed, most breeding females in cages. The owners facing multiple charges. Relief and nausea hit me at once. The thing is, those puppies are technically evidence. We'd need to hold them until trial. Could be 6 months. I looked down at Sarge, Scout, and Rookie playing with a rope toy. No. These dogs almost died. I almost died getting them out. They're not evidence. They're family. Detective Chen looked at me meaningfully. "I'm going to strongly suggest you get those dogs microchipped and registered in your name immediately. Like, today. Because if they're officially yours, they're not part of the evidence chain. Do you understand?" I understood perfectly. "I'll call the vet right now." Officer Ramirez smiled. "Mobile vet can be here in 2 hours." Chapter 10. Full Circle. 3 months later, I took the puppies back to the river. It was warm spring morning. The mist was gone. The water sparkled. You'd never know it was the same place. Sarge, Scout, and Rookie ran through the grass, chasing each other. They didn't remember this place, but I did. I sat down carefully, my knee still wasn't perfect, and all 3 climbed onto me. I thought about Sarah, how she'd love these ridiculous dogs. I didn't feel guilty anymore for being happy. "I'm living," I whispered to the river. "I'm doing it." Sarge put his paw on my hand. "Yeah, buddy. Thank you." We sat watching the river flow past, and the current that almost took them was just water now, just part of the world moving forward. Eventually, Rookie tried to eat a dandelion. Scout barked at a butterfly. Sarge sighed dramatically, as if to say, "Can you believe I'm related to these idiots?" I laughed, stood up, and we walked back to the truck together. The river was behind us. Home was ahead. My house isn't quiet anymore. It's full of snoring, sneezing, the click of toenails on hardwood floors. My knee still hurts. But now I have a reason to get up and move. Physical therapy isn't optional when you have 3 dogs who think 6 a.m. is sleeping in. Last week, Margaret visited. She watched the puppies wrestle over a toy and started crying. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. I just haven't seen you smile like this since before Sarah got sick." She was right. I smile when Rookie sneezes in his sleep, when Scout steals my sandwich, when Sarge wakes me up by staring at me. I still miss Sarah. Always will. But I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm living. The trial ended with a conviction. The breeder got 18 months and a lifetime ban on owning animals. 23 dogs from the raid found homes. I started volunteering at the animal shelter, helping with their rescue response team. "You're good in a crisis," the shelter director said. "I'm a firefighter. I run toward the fire, not away from it." And Rookie, the little guy who almost drowned? He's training to be a therapy dog. Turns out, a dog who survived the impossible is pretty good at helping others believe they can survive, too. Sometimes I go back to the river early in the morning when the mist is thick, and I stand at the edge of that bank and look down at the mud. I think about the man who came here a year ago, broken, alone, barely hanging on. That man went into the mud to save 3 lives. But the puppies? They saved him right back. If Caleb and the Mud Squad touched your heart, hit that like button. Tell me in the comments, would you have gone down that bank? What would you name Rookie? I post rescue stories every week that remind us that even on the coldest days, there is warmth to be found. If this inspired you, support your local animal shelter. They're full of sergeants, scouts, and rookies waiting for their Caleb. Subscribe and join our pack. Until next time, hug your dogs close. And remember, sometimes the lives we save end up saving us right back.